chance that nobody's watching this, but it's all good. I sent something out. Maybe there'd be an alert saying this shit is. Yep, there it is. The alert just went out that Peter Talks special NXT Takeover Dallas is gone live right now. Maybe this will be on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Podbean. Maybe, just maybe. I haven't really decided what to do yet. But as for now, this is going to be a YouTube thing. So, how you doing, folks? For those who are going to catch this on the upload versus watching this live. So, because it's kind of impromptu as well. I didn't get to watch NXT TakeOver last night because I was DJing. Right now it's like 8 o'clock and I go in at 10 o'clock. I just watched NXT TakeOver. I was able to avoid all spoilers. I was able to avoid everything. Avoid, because I don't have too many wrestling friends that live around me that's going to send me tweets, texts. I had one guy hit me up during the Royal Rumble to let me know that AJ Styles was in it. And no. It was something that someone told me, but I was just like, fuck, because I shut it down, man. I shut it down every time. Whenever I cannot watch a live WWE or NXT event, 9 times out of 10 it's NXT or the house show events. I just shut down everything. No Facebook, no Twitter, no Instagram, no nothing. I just stay off that shit and wait till I can finally get in front of my network and watch the show. So NXT TakeOver Dallas. My impressions of this show is that out of all the NXT shows they've had, so as I was saying before I got disconnected, this is perhaps the most intense NXT TakeOver I've ever seen. I don't know, maybe because the stakes were a lot higher. I think the matches had a little more venom in it. There were no stipulations. WrestleMania weekend, almost every fucking match at WrestleMania has a stipulation. There wasn't a single stipulation to this. We had some title changes, right? We had some blood. We had debuts, right? We had send-offs, right? I mean, you couldn't ask for anything more in a network special, in a wrestling show, a show that's supposed to be like, one of the biggest events in the wrestling industry. NXT TakeOver has easily become that. There's WrestleMania, there's ROH, Best in the World, there's Wrestle Kingdom, right? And then there's NXT. And because NXT has the WWE stamp of approval, then obviously it's going to get this. I don't know. It just levels the prestige, right? So if I was to pick, because it's what it is. It's basically the Indies All-Star game, what have you, what's happening in NXT. So, if I was to rank, like other than say WrestleMania, if I was to give like a second, it would be Wrestle Kingdom, and then after that would be NXT. And I say Wrestle Kingdom over that because, hey, it's just great talent and great booking. But nevertheless, my impression of the NXT Dallas is, it was the most intense. And I would say probably my favorite one I've ever seen. For front to right to the very end, right until the very fucking end. That's when they could have closed the show better than what they did. your main event match for the title rematch from NXT London Takeover London, and I feel like they had something going, but then they just dropped the ball. And I wouldn't even say that they were the only ones that did it. I look at the Bailey Asuka match as well as a little bit of the ball dropping to a certain degree. All right. So let's go into this fucking card. The card itself is America Alpha versus the Revival, and that's for the NXT Tag Team Championship. You have Baron Corbin versus Austin Aries, and that was basically a revenge. A revenge match. Austin Aries wants to get his revenge on Baron Corbin for interrupting his debut to the NXT roster. You got Zayn versus Nakamura, which basically is a consolation prize to Sami Zayn because he lost to Joe to face Balor for the belt, right? Because they did that whole double pins and all that stuff, but the smoke cleared and Joe got the victory. What's next for Sami Zayn before he goes to the main roster? He gets a match with Nakamura, and this is Nakamura's debut match under the WWE logo. You get Bayley versus Asuka, which is almost a battle of respect, between two respected ladies, basically. Asuka came into the NXT division, I would say 6 months ago, and she's just been a ball of destruction and just raging through just raging, tearing everyone limb from limb. Bayley has been taking out everyone since Sasha Banks, and it's basically the immovable object versus the unstoppable force, and that's where they collide. And then the main event is Joe versus Balor. Samoa Joe versus Finn Balor for the NXT division for the belt. Oh yeah, by the way, Bayley Asuka is for the NXT women's belt. So, all right, what a better way to start the show than with American Alpha versus the Revival? And I'll say this, and I still think they look like a bunch of ham and eggers, and it's just something about Dawson that kind of weird about. I'm just weird about. But anyway, American Alpha, when that music hits, that place erupts, man. That was like a fucking amazing pop that they got. And I know they're liked, but god damn, man, to the likes of a tag team to have that kind of heat, I think is pretty amazing. And it's not something that was like overnight either. Gable is over because his likeness to Kurt Angle, right? And then Jason Jordan is just like a freak of nature. This guy almost looks like the next Rock, moving forward. Like when they decide they're gonna get this guy the rub, it's gonna be the whole blue chipper talk about this guy. So they join forces. They go from Jordan and Gable to American Alpha, and boom, here you have it. Like the fact that, say, Big Cass and Enzo aren't on that roster anymore, and they were the hottest tag team. I feel like Jason and American Alpha just move right in where, Kaz and Enzo leaves. The only thing that I nitpick about, say, anything about this match is that the Revival, I feel, should have walked slower to the ring, right? They should have walked slower to the ring. They came out as the heels, as the champions, the champions. They done beat everyone in their path. And you would think, as much heat that they do have, they get heat from me because they look like a bunch of ham and eggers. But they do work really well, awesomely well as a tag team. And their timing is impeccable, right? But I just can't take those guys serious. They could have just took their time and walked to the ring for America Alpha to basically wait for them as the crowd basically gives them more and more heat, you know? Like, it could have been way more effective if they would have walked, but they just kind of walked fast down to the ring, like, ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like, nah, man. If you want to consider yourself old school, you want to call yourself the Revival, like you're the return of the Minnesota Wrecking Crew and shit, you Tully Blanchard and motherfucking Arn Anderson and shit, then slow it down. Build your heat. Anyway, this match itself was nothing more than Gable getting his ass handed to him as the Revival just cuts off the ring, man. Jordan doesn't stand a chance. There's only 3 times Jordan was in the match. He got a first tag in, he get a hot tag, and then he gets the last tag that was a hidden tag. But other than that, Gable getting his ass handed to him. There was one spot that was Botchamania worthy that was sounded off by the crowd. There was a part in the match where you get Dash goes under the ring, and before Gable can actually tag Jordan, he gets up, snatches him, comes from under the ring, snatches him off the apron, so Gable can't get the tag. And then there's this screw up, right? They hit their move from the top buckle, whatever the fuck that shit is, and Dash goes for the pin. And come to find out, he is not the legal man. And the crowd lets him have it. They let them have it, man. That was a funny spot. Botchamania chance. Jordan gets his hot tag. And just when you think it's over, there's still more match. Because when Jordan gets in for that hot tag, he's a house of fire. He fucking runs wild. He's throwing people left and right. But there's more match. Gable gets back in. And then between him and Dawson, they have this amazing wrestling exchange of like pinfall. This just, how can I pin you? How can I reverse your pin for my pin and your pin, my pin, your pin? It's pretty amazing stuff. And then there's a part where Gable and Dawson end up on the side where Jordan is. And Jordan kind of sneaks in a tag. Dawson is unaware that there's been a tag. Next thing you know, the first time Jason misses that sort of that spear into the corner, he connects this time, which results in a grand aptitude. Your new NXT Tag Team Champions are American Alpha. Very emotional, very amazingly emotional moment. Jason is tearing up. Gable jumps into his arms, and I'm just like, hey now, back up of the broness. What up, Polo Life? All right. Mr. Polo Life in the house. If you're watching, what's really good. So yeah, I just got like, back up off the romance for a little bit. That was weird. I know you're happy, but I was almost waiting for them to kind of make out. As weird as that sound, that was just a little too affectionate for me. And I go, and I tell myself, how can WWE ruin this? How can NXT ruin this? And I know the writing is different than, say, the main roster stuff. But, they're still WWE. I don't care what anyone says. I mean, they're darlings. NXT is a bunch of darlings. And everyone's great. The talent's great. The talent relations is great. The creative is great. The music is great. Right? But they're still WWE. And I'm almost tempted. Like, extremely, extremely tempted to think that they would pursue a relationship angle between the two of them. Now, in this day and age, a lot is different. We get it. A lot of things are different. There's been Gold Dust, a couple of other people that's flamboyant or this, that, and the other. And I think there was one wrestler, I can't think of his name, but his angle that he was gay. But the camaraderie between Jordan and Gable, I think, I'm not saying I think, or it has the potential that if some smart aleck creative in the back decides that he wants to take this to a real crazy level in this day and age to get heat, maybe get support, maybe get a whole new fan base, it could be probably the greatest thing that's happened in wrestling history, or it could end those guys' careers. So just keep, just keep. I will say, just as an observer, keep up with that. Keep up with their relationship. Keep up with that storyline. If they go Brokeback Mountain, you heard it here first. All right. So yeah, we have new tag team champions. I wonder who's next to take the belt. Like, who will they develop next to take the belts from them moving forward? Say by the time NXT Takeover Orlando hits. You see good old JR in the crowd, and then you see that bitch Michelle Beadle. Ugh, fuck her, man. And Kota Ibushi. Apparently, he's in the building. He's about to do his damn thing at NXT. Man, there's a lot of talent, man. A lot of talent coming in NXT, man. And I'm thinking, man, like, is there enough space for them? Is there going to be, God, with guys returning from injury plus this onslaught of new talent on the roster? Will they be like NXT, like SmackDown? They're going to need it. With all this fresh new talent coming in and not a lot of people taking off quite yet, the people in the crowd, we find out later, we see Bobby Roode in the crowd. Oh, man, all this time. They just got Austin Aries. Speaking of which, we come to the next battle. No stipulation, just two dudes who don't like each other going at it. And it's Baron Corbin, who is like being groomed as the ultimate heel for the company, and Austin Aries, the greatest man that ever lived. I really, really enjoy Austin Aries' music, right? And I say this, I'm not someone who really knows Austin Aries' history. I didn't watch TNA, and I would say if he was on Ring of Honor, I started watching Ring of Honor way past the time that he had already left. So I will say this in all honesty. This is the first ever Austin Aries match I've ever watched. And I will gladly say that I was highly impressed. There was a lot of likeness to Chris Benoit. I will say that. If I was to pick one person that he reminded me of, like someone face value that, like, okay, if I say, hey, watch Austin Aries, he reminds you of blank, the first thing that I would say is, I would say Chris Benoit. Same body type. He's very, like, go get him kind of a guy, nonstop, and he sells really well. This match itself is more centered around Baron Corbin as this, heel character. He's someone not to be liked. Now, I went in to my predictions from Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling episode. I guess it was 68, and I said that Baron Corbin was going to win. That they have to build him up as a formidable heel at some point to take on one-on-one for the belt, for the NXT belt. And I was like, all right, Austin Aries is your debut. I don't think losing, because you have such a, it's not like Nakamura, Austin Aries could probably debut and lose and it wouldn't hurt him, but that's not the direction they went. But there's a deep six out on the floor that looked brutal, and Austin Aries beat the 10 count, and then right after that he gets back into the ring, and this is it. This is the WWE Network. It's PG, but it could be PG-13. because it's on the network and not on like national television. But they shoot Austin Aries. He goes, "Come on, motherfucker!" I was like, "Oh shit, that could have not happened." On Raw or SmackDown. And what the ending to this didn't really put anybody over or really take anybody down. Again, Austin Aries won the match, but he won reversing End of Days into basically a roll up, and he locked him down. And it looks like he's about to grab the tights, but because he's babyface, i.e. Dolph Ziggler, he didn't grab the tights. He didn't grab the tights. He didn't have to grab the tights, right? He did not have to grab the tights. As a babyface, as a good guy, you don't need to be grabbing the tights. And even though his tights were sitting right there, and I think the ref was looking at the shoulders, he could have easily just grabbed, but he didn't. He just held him down. He got the 3 count. And Baron Corbin didn't look weak here. Austin Aries didn't really go over that strong here. So the first thing I thought of, as soon as that went down and the look on Baron Corbin's face, is that this is far from over. This is far from over. And then I'll move on to Sami Zayn versus Shinsuke Nakamura. And the thing that blows me away is that, like, he's changed absolutely nothing coming over to this. One of my biggest fears, and I say even over the past couple of weeks and all these new people, you know, you look at Hideo Itami and Finn Balor, they had to change their names, right? Damn near change their identities to a certain degree. You know, you look at Samoa Joe now, and you look at Austin Aries, you look at Shinsuke Nakamura. You know, you look at these guys, and they were able to keep their identities. AJ Styles, they were able to keep their name, keep their identities, and I think that's crazy. And one of the things I feared the most with Nakamura is that they were going to turn him. I think we all, Sami Zayn even. I mean, he couldn't have been El Generico moving forward, but even for the same token, like, he's not the same guy at all. And now you got Shinsuke Nakamura coming out. I'm thinking they're going to change his name, almost change his gimmick. But he came over, and it's the same shit, the same everything. The only thing that's different is that theme music. That's the only thing that's different. And you know what? That theme music, it's very, you know, they couldn't help themselves to just keep, they had to keep some Oriental kind of, like Oriental's a bad word, so sort of Eastern sort of sound to it. He's from Japan, and right off the bat, when you hear his music, you know that a Japanese performer is going to come out. Unlike Asuka, they just gave her like a basic, a damn near like King Crimson type of entrance music, but I ain't mad at it. I wish they would have done something that was a little more like his theme song in New Japan, which is like a video game. You know, I wish they would have done something so much like it. But if he's gonna keep all that shit, they may as well change. And they had to choose one thing to sort of own. I guess that would be his music. And you know what? He came out, man. I even have a reaction to it. It was great, man. Great reception he took. He comes out. He's a fucking superstar. He's in his getup. He hits his moves, and it's just great, man. I'm so happy for the guy. I'm so happy for the WWE. I'm so happy for NXT. Shinsuke Nakamura in the WWE is one of the greatest things ever. If I had to choose out of all the things, out of all the free agents out there, and them jumping ship to different promotions and what have you, if I, over the past 5 years, if I had to choose one over Daniel Bryan, over Uhaa Nation, or Finn Balor, or even Sami Zayn, I would say Shinsuke Nakamura. Even more over AJ Styles. I mean, that's cool, but Shinsuke Nakamura coming to the WWE is fantastic. And not only that, he's able to keep his identity. That's so important, man. That's so important. They could have easily changed him up But they said, no, man. Triple H's like, no, this guy is a star. Let's just keep what he's doing, what he does, and he's going to get hella over. We just wait till he gets to the main roster. So let's talk about this match. Swagske, no more, okay? All right? Want to be CM Punk, all right? Just don't say Swag K, okay? That's not his character. Don't make this to a Zigger thing. JBL, Zigger this, Zigger that. Don't no Swag K, okay? Like chill with that shit. What they do in this match is showcase, if you've never seen Shinsuke Nakamura, if you don't have the time or the interest to check out Ring of Honor, say Global Wars, or say New Japan and what they got going on over there, it's when he was part of their organization. You found out in this NXT match what this guy was all about. And if you can pick one person, now people don't understand that El Generico, what El Generico was, he could get anyone over with the bumps without looking like a total dweeb, right? Dolph Ziggler. And if you can get one person in the ring to sell your shots and make you look like $1,000,000, the best person you can get is Sami Zayn. That's why he was chose for this. Obviously, they're going to put Nakamura over. But who's going to make him look like $1,000,000? Right? So anyone who's mad that Sami Zayn took a loss, they could have done a DQ, they could have done anything. No. Obviously, you didn't follow El Generico's career. He made people look like $1,000,000. And you know what? Kudos to Generico. Kudos to Zayn for making Shinsuke Nakamura look like $1,000,000. Very, very key, man. Like, his debut is crucial for this company. You don't really understand this. We talk about new stars. The reason why tomorrow's WrestleMania looks like utter garbage compared to this card. No stars. No new stars. So, Nakamura in that ring with Sami Zayn, showcasing all his strikes, all his knees, and all his kicks. Man, you couldn't have made a better choice, man. And Zayn he's wily. He's elusive. Even though you got this guy coming at you with all these strikes and kicks and knees, what Sami's doing in the ring is he's wily, he's unpredictable, he's able to sort of maneuver out of some of those to protect his health, and at the same time get enough offense in to put himself over. There's a Mokanishu I always fuck that up, driver that was done on Nakamura's neck that looked pretty brutal. And then there was a moment where it turned into like a never style, like the never title for New Japan, where they just like, and fucking just goes to town. They both go to town on each other so much. And it's like the crowd is going absolutely apeshit. There's a point where Nakamura gets his nose busted and it looks amazing. That was a blessing that happened. It made him look amazing. And then there's chance for fight forever. And you're right. You look at, the last match I saw of Nakamura was against AJ Styles. And I can look at the AJ Styles match as like an incredible match, and I can look at this in the same light. I watch that AJ Styles match, and they could have wrestled forever. And I'm not comparing the two. I just go, wow, look at the athleticism. Look at the entertainment. Look at these guys. They're giving it their all, and they're not missing a beat. And it just looks beautiful. Like, it's like I could take either or of these matches, put it in an art gallery, put on a plasma television, and just have it up on there as a work of art, man. And motherfuckers will stop and they will look at it. Front to back. It's captivating. Fight forever. Yep. Hashtag fight forever. And it goes back and forth, back and forth. You know, they try to get the haluva kick in, and they tries to get one Bumaye kick in. It's reverse, reverse, reverse. A lot of Pele kicks. I mean, it's just a brutal match. Kudos to both of those guys. But you got to signify, if you're putting this guy over and you let everyone know what this guy is all about, he has to hit his finisher. Bumaye. 1, 2, 3 victory, Nakamura. He goes over, shakes Sami Zayn's hand. And he walks off to the sunset with the victory. And then we get the official send off for Sami Zayn. It was great. You couldn't ask for a better moment. Bayley versus Asuka for the championship, women's NXT Women's Championship. And the only thing about this match that stood out, that really grind my gears, is that the crowd, this Dallas crowd, wants to be London. Hey, Bayley, I want to know. You know, all that crap. It was silly. They could have just let London be London. Just let London be London. If that's their thing, let them do their thing. Create your own fucking thing or something. And at the same time, don't make it about yourself. Poor Bayley, poor Asuka. You got the crowd out there trying to put themselves over while they're in there kicking ass and taking names. And it annoyed me. I was almost tempted to mute my shit. Just turn down the fucking speakers. Because if they're going to keep that shit up, they're not doing our girls any favors. And even last time when people were complaining about it and people complaining about the people complaining, I never get... nothing pisses me off more than someone who's complaining about people complaining, you know? Like, oh, look, people complaining. People complaining about complaining. Like, yo, just chill the fuck out. And anyone who wants to make the comment about, you know, what I say? What I want to say? Anyone who wants to make the comment that, like, hey, give it a break, let the kids be out there having fun. It's like, yes, I will let you have fun, but not at the expense of the women in the ring. All right? You could easily do that during the fucking Corbin Ayers match. You could have done that during American Alpha versus the Revival. You could have done that on one of anything on this card. But they didn't. They chose the women's match because you know what? To a certain degree, they felt... I still think as great as those women are and everyone wants to talk about how great the women in NXT are and how great Asuka is and how great Bayley is, I think there's a certain underline, very much like the black wrestlers in you know, to wrestling fans, is that they're not to be taken seriously. Ultimately, no. If there's like 98%, I take you 98% serious. And then the other 2%, if it ain't 100%, man, it's nothing. There's no 99.9 when dealing with this shit. You either take me serious or you don't. And when you have the crowd fucking singing and doing all a bunch of crazy shit rather than giving the actual women their heat, I like to believe that they're not taken serious. They don't care. Which is a shame. And if you have something to say about it, you're watching this, or you have a comment. Do you think that do you believe that the women's division is taken seriously right now? If you do, please explain the crowds putting themselves over doing these women's matches, doing Bayley's matches. All right? And I know they keep giving her kudos, but just, okay, say your piece and then give them their heat within the match. This match goes back and forth. You got Asuka, and it's almost like a female version of the match we just saw, right? A crowd favorite in Sami Zayn and a Japanese style, hard style by Nakamura. Same thing. American big time babyface Bailey go up against Asuka, the striker. I mean, it's almost the same thing. And you could almost put the two matches side by side. They look very similar and enjoyable as well. In that art gallery, Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sami Zayn, you could put over in another right beside it or across from it. You can put this match because it was gorgeous. It was beautiful. I like to think they could have done something different with the finish, but I'm not complaining. Someone has to go over, right? I don't think, because what this looked like to me was John Cena. This looked like a John Cena finish. He didn't tap out. He didn't give up. He didn't get pinned. Passing out is just, okay, you got caught in a bad situation. It doesn't necessarily make you look weak or anything like that. It makes you look like someone outsmarted you. Not outpowered you or out-dominated you. They just outwitted you for a quick second. So when she's sitting there gasping for air, trying to reach for the rope, and Asuka's basically got that Asuka lock in, not letting go, we're shit. And Bailey passes out, and the referee just goes, "Oh shit, ring the bell." There's this huge gasp in the room, and it was like a gasp of disapproval to the finish. Not necessarily that Bailey lost. You would think, oh man, Bailey lost. That sucks. And it looks like people were kind of about to give Asuka the what for, but they were just trying to get over what would happen. And I would almost imagine 100% people immediately saw John Cena laid out, passed out on that mat. It's like you're either going to win the match, you're going to lose the match. There's no passing out. What we do have a title change. Asuka is the new women's champion. What is that? What happens with Bailey? Is it time for her to move up to the main roster? Is it time? There's a lot of women on that NXT roster that can come in. At the likes of Bailey, one will see. Bailey started with humble beginnings, and then she caught on. Someone else has to catch on. You have to develop a star, another star. Bailey is, what she's about to do on the main roster is going to be kind of unheard of. I think the impact, I thought the transition would be tough, say if she came over to the main roster, but I don't believe that anymore. When she comes to the main roster, the likes of the main roster will never ever see anything like this before. I think what she's going to do is going to outtake Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's going to outtake The Rock. It's going to outtake John Cena. It's going to outtake. It's going to take over The Undertaker. Like seriously, this girl and today's society and what she represents. Now people could easily turn on her. They could, but I don't see it happening anytime soon because her talent does speak for itself as well. I think people see John Cena, they see someone who can't wrestle. So they boo him for that. Same 5 moves. Now, unless good old Vince McMahon puts his arm around her and is like, "Hey, look here, kid. Hey, kid, you're gonna do 5 moves, kid. You're gonna do 5 moves. You're gonna kill him, kid." Then yeah, she's doomed. And the crowd will turn. But as for now, I think if she keeps her wrestle rate high, and then she comes to the main roster to challenge for the belt against, go up against the likes of Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks and Charlotte Flair, if they get Paige back on the fucking right track again, you get Imma up there, you're going to have a really sick women's division moving forward. But, man, I feel like Bayley's going to fucking do her thing. She loses the belt. Does she show up to WrestleMania? Does she show up to the Raw after? I think people will be very happy. That crowd will fucking blow the hell up if she showed up, if that's her calling card to the main roster. If she's still on NXT, and she faced Asuka again, she will lose clean. She will get pinned clean by Asuka, and that will be her official send off. But we won't see that until maybe a special NXT, like, maybe they do another Iron Woman match, or they wait till another NXT Takeover 4 months away or something. But like, it's after WrestleMania. I think it's the coast is clear. You're outside of the Bella cloud, and you're outside of you've gone past Hurricane WrestleMania, and you can just start working on her to be basically the biggest star that wrestling has ever seen. But they could have, yeah. Bobby Roode in the crowd. That was pretty cool. Samoa Joe versus Texas Chainsaw Baylor Massacre. He comes out with a chainsaw. Chainsaws make me uneasy. You start flailing those things around, man. That is not a good look, man. Fuck that. If I can never see another chainsaw in wrestling ever again, I'm completely fine with that. I get so anxious when a motherfucking chainsaw is around. I can't be around chainsaws. Mannequins, I can't stand to be around mannequins. Chainsaws, I cannot stand to be around chainsaws. It's just something about a goddamn chainsaw that just rubs me the wrong fucking way. All right? I'm just putting that out there. So him coming out with that goddamn chainsaw, right? It's like chainsaw fucking last 2 weeks. You got fucking Terry Funk handed a chainsaw to damn Dean Ambrose. Now you got this son bitch. And I wonder, is it the same chainsaw? Is it the same chainsaw? But, man, just to say whatever, the biggest heel of the night was fucking WWE Medical. Right? Because right at the very beginning of this match, they connect heads. There's a headbutt. And Samoa Joe is cut wide the fuck open. So he's bloody right from the jump, which I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool. But, man, the ref has to stop it multiple times. Medical has to come out, and the motherfucking crowd is giving so much heel heat to these motherfucking these guys, man. It's kind of incredible. There's a spot also where Finn Balor is thrown over the barricade. Okay, sorry. The second time it got cut off. Whenever I get notifications, it seems I gotta somehow turn that shit off when I'm doing these live. But if I get a notification, it'll freeze up my iPad. My iPad's a piece of shit, it seems. But anyway, if I look at NXT London was so lackluster. That entire card was lackluster. All those matches were lackluster. It was like bizarro NXT World. It was like the worst thing ever. And on top of that fucking championship match between Finn Balor and Samoa Joe. This match, whole other animal. It's amazing. It's brilliant. The only thing that really got on me was the repetitiveness sometimes. And it was a lot of moves, a lot of moments that seemed like deja vu. They kept doing the same move, like sling blade. How many sling blades did fucking Finn Balor do? How many fucking like kicks, those fucking flying kicks that we see? How many those chops that we see? How many of those moments that we just see over and over and over? And that's what took away from the match. Great match, but it took away because I'm like, wow, man, like, where's the creativity? Finn Balor's kind of exposing himself to a certain degree, where he's limited. He's a high flyer. He does this. He does that. I think that's great. He has the paint job and all that shit. But like moving forward, I think once he gets to the main roster, he will have 5 moves. And it's not like Finn Balor's in-ring really impresses me. I still believe the only reason why he's there in the first place is because of injuries. It's not because he's like the best. He's the demon. He's Finn Balor. All hail Finn Balor. If Hideo Itami would have never got hurt, or Sami Zayn would have never got hurt, Finn Balor would be at Tyler Breeze level. So I'm not going to sit back and be like, oh, Finn Balor, he's so great in the ring. I think he's good, But when he does shit over and over and over again, it doesn't sit here. It doesn't make me ooh and ah and grovel at this guy's talent. It just doesn't. So let's just go through this. The medical gets a lot of fucking heat, and yeah, when he tosses him over the barricade. Sorry about that. He tosses him over the barricade. He lands on security. They shoot, and there's a guy fucking just out, like in a security jacket because he's facing. He can't. He's not supposed to face the ring. He faces towards the crowd to make sure everything's fucking dope. So he's caught blindsided, and he's dead on the outside the barricade, and they get away from that real quick. So I'm thinking, was that a plant, or are we looking for a lawsuit sometime soon? That would suck. But there's a moment where the muscle buster is put on, and he hits it, and I'm like, holy shit! I predicted Joe to win. I think everyone predicted Joe to win because it's time for Finn Balor to go to the main roster. But he hits the muscle buster and it gets kicked out of. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, well, unless he puts one on, like another one on immediately, rather than sort of like reel out, like, oh my God, I can't believe he kicked out. It's like, no, man, it's time to go. Get him in another one and fucking secure your win. But he's so shocked. Finn Balor basically no-sells the muscle buster. And then he kind of hulks up. He's like hulks demons up. And we've never seen, since we've seen it, there's no difference between one of the biggest criticisms about the Finn Balor character is that there's no variation between the demon and Finn himself. The only variation, the difference, is that he has on face paint and he comes out in a wig. Other than that, they're essentially the same person. And this is probably the first time we saw like that there was this distinct difference between Finn and the demon. So he kind of demons up. And he's like, ah! I'm like, oh shit, something different. Awesome. And a variation too. But once you think shit was gonna go haywire, he gets his shit in. He reverses, I think, another move that he does again into a Coquina clutch. This is Samoa Joe. And then what happens is Finn Balor does a running. He runs up the buckle, flips over to hit basically to pin a roll up for the victory. And it's like, what? And that's why I think, even what I said earlier, it's like a lackluster finish. This whole, like, between, Bayley passing out and then, like, Finn retaining on a sloppy reversal of the Coquina clutch into, like, a roll-up victory that results into no consequence to him whatsoever as well. Like, Samoa Joe is not angry. He's as shocked about losing this as, say, having his muscle buster kicked out of. You're supposed to be the big, bad, obsessed, angry Samoa Joe. Obsessed, just pissed off. You would think, after such a fluke ending of a pin, that you would just lose your shit and beat the living crap out of this guy. On top of the fact that you lost to a sloppy fucking reverse. I mean, I completely think, and plus, like, you're being attended to the whole time. Like, you can't get no momentum because your momentum's getting cut and all this stuff, man. It's like you get your muscle buster kicked out of, and now you lose to a sloppy fucking reverse to your Coquina clutch. And you just sort of leave the ring. And Finn's just in the ring looking like a paper champion. So, yeah, as great as this fucking pay-per-view, this WWE Network event special was, Those two finishes could have been better. They could have been better. John Cena, Randy Orton. Like, that looked like a Randy Orton finish. So, I mean, that's all I have to say. I mean, if I was to give it stars, I ain't giving no goddamn stars. If I was to rank it, give it a letter grade, I'll give it A minus. It was A, all the way A. It would have been an A plus if Asuka would have either made Bailey tap or got the pin, or if that finish wasn't so fucking sloppy. The debut of Shinsuke Nakamura made my year. Jordan Gable winning the tag team off the Jabroni revival is pretty awesome. What else we have? You know, the debut of Austin Aries, Corbin. That was excellent. That was excellent. It was, 2 hour show, short match. You got superstars in the ring, outside the ring, watching along. JR, fucking Ibushi. It was good stuff. Bobby Roode. The matches were great. Just those two fucking endings. Two fucking endings, man. Those last two endings were so... Just could have gave me something better, man. You could have gave me something better. So I wonder how NXT after this is going to be. I'm not sure how they do the tapings or what have you, but I'm trying to figure out if you know how, like, I don't know where they are. Do they start fresh? Is it like, Raw after WrestleMania? Like, what happens? So if you know if there's like time between when we get the next, say, up to date NXT, just let me know. Hit the subscription button below, and follow me at PJTW Central or at LINJAPANESC. That's Ellen Japanese. That's another Twitter account. That's also Instagram, and that's also Snapchat. Hit the thumbs up, thumbs down. Leave a comment below, and most importantly, share this shit, y'all. I'm going to watch me some Carolina basketball and then get ready to DJ. You guys enjoy the rest of your WrestleMania NCAA history, NCAA weekend, and watch out for those foreign objects. I'll see you for WrestleMania. I think I'm going to do like a quick WrestleMania. I think I'm going to do like a quick WrestleMania sort of recap after the show. I'm going to have a cool, sweet shirt too. So be tuned for that. Watch out for those foreign objects.